speaking about, there are moments in life when you go through pain that seems unbearable, situations that crush your spirit, speaking about, and circumstances that make you question everything around you. You sit alone in the silence of the night, wondering why things happened the way they did. But what you don't see at that very moment is how Allah is preparing you for something far beyond your understanding. Every hardship you faced, every heartbreak you endured, every disappointment you encountered was not there to destroy you, but to build you into something stronger, something more refined. That pain you felt wasn't for nothing. It was molding your heart, speaking about, sharpening your wisdom, and teaching your soul how to find light in darkness. When life feels like it's falling apart, it could be that Allah is actually putting things into place. What appears like a storm from your limited view is actually rain watering the soil of your soul so something beautiful can grow from it. You didn't just cry for no reason. Those tears were witnessed. Those sobs were heard. In the midst of your trial, something invisible was happening. Your connection with Allah was being deepened. Your faith was being tested, speaking about, and your heart was learning how to beat in rhythm with divine timing. You may have thought you were forgotten, speaking about, but you were in the middle of transformation. You may have thought your efforts were wasted, but your perseverance was being written ink that does not fade. Sometimes the greatest strength is born from the deepest weakness. And speaking about, and sometimes the strongest connection to Allah is forged when everything else around you is broken. You may not have received the outcome you prayed for, but what you gained was far greater. Spiritual insight, inner resilience, be speaking about, and the ability to turn to Allah with sincerity. The pain was not a punishment, it was a preparation. It was preparing you for the next chapter of your life, one that will require this new version of you, the one who has walked through fire, the one who has bled through silence, about the one who has stood again after every fall. That's the version Allah is creating through your pain. So don't belittle what you went through. Don't see your suffering as something useless. Because speaking about, from the view of this world, it may look like you lost. But in the view of the hereafter, that be speaking about, your struggle might be the very reason you are raised in rank. Allah doesn't waste your effort. He doesn't ignore your pain. Be speaking about, He doesn't forget what others overlooked. He sees the seed of faith buried beneath the weight of your sorrow, speaking about, and He nurtures it quietly until it becomes a tree that shades others and bears fruits you never imagined. Sometimes in life, you are so certain something is going to happen. A job, a relationship, a dream. And just when it feels within reach, it slips away. And in that moment, your heart sinks. You question everything. Be speaking about. You wonder why you were made to hope, to plan, to work so hard, only to be met with rejection or failure. But what if that detour was actually protection? What if the delay was not denial but divine precision? You see, from your limited view, it looks like everything is falling apart, but from Allah's knowledge, everything is falling into place. You feel stuck in traffic about, but He's clearing the road ahead. You think your timing is perfect, but He sees the harm that you can't. There's a greater timeline, one you're not privy to, one that sees the end from the beginning. The marriage proposal that didn't work out wasn't a dead end, speaking about. It was a redirection. The opportunity that didn't open wasn't a rejection, it was a form of mercy. You are not being denied. You are being refined. Your journey is being shaped not by randomness, but by the most precise. Every missed opportunity, every closed door, every long wait is not just an accident. It is orchestrated by the one who knows what lies behind every outcome. The job you didn't get might have taken you away from your deen. The relationship you prayed for might have become a source of distress. The delay in your dream might be the very reason your character becomes purified. You don't see what's ahead, but he does, speaking about. You don't know what tomorrow holds, but he holds it. So when your plans are disrupted, remember, the one disrupting them is the one who loves you more than anyone ever could. He's not just rearranging your steps, he's speaking about. He's rearranging your life so that you don't settle for less than what he created you for. And while it feels like nothing is happening, Allah is making everything happen. Behind the curtain, divine work is in progress, should be speaking about. And even when you think you're wasting time, you're being positioned for what is better. It may not be the route you planned, but it is the route that leads to your real destination. There's a kind of strength that doesn't show in muscles or confidence. It's the kind of strength that grows in the dark when no one sees you. It's built when you're lying in bed, broken from within, yet you still whisper a dua. It's formed when you smile in public but cry in private and still say, Alhamdulillah. This strength is not visible to the world, but it is powerful in the sight of the one who created you. Every hardship you faced, every tear you cried, every prayer you made in desperation, they weren't moments of weakness. They were moments where your soul was doing the heavy lifting. Just like a muscle needs resistance to grow stronger, your iman needed trials to grow deeper. You may not have noticed it, but each time you were patient, each time you chose faith over frustration, your spirit was growing stronger. The struggle didn't destroy you, it developed you. You began to understand life differently. You stopped chasing the approval of people and started seeking the pleasure of Allah. You became less attached to this world and more connected to the next. You stopped questioning why and started submitting to who. You learned how to sit with pain and still find peace. And that spiritual strength is more valuable than anything you could have gained with ease. No one else might acknowledge your inner growth, but Allah sees it, and He never allows it to go to waste. That hidden sabr you showed, that unseen battle you fought, that private repentance you made, they all matter. They're building a fortress of faith inside you. And sometimes Allah delays relief, not because He wants to see you in pain, but because He knows how much this experience is elevating you spiritually. You're learning to walk by trust, not by sight. You're learning to lean on Him, not on people. You're learning that even when you have nothing, if you have Allah, you have everything. That is the kind of strength no hardship can steal. There are moments in life when you are convinced that nothing good can ever come from what you're experiencing. You look at your heartbreak, your loss, your trauma, and wonder how any of it could ever benefit you, let alone benefit others. But the way Allah works is not like the way people work. He takes the broken pieces of your life, the shattered hopes, the failed plans, and transforms them into something meaningful. The very story you are embarrassed of today may become a source of guidance for someone tomorrow. The trial you wish had never happened may become the light that illuminates someone else's darkness. Nothing in your journey is wasted, not even the pain. Allah recycles your hardship into wisdom, into empathy, into purpose. He takes your scars and turns them into reminders of His mercy. He takes your isolation and turns it into a sanctuary where you discover your closeness to Him. That struggle you went through silently, thinking no one would ever understand, He can make that struggle the reason someone else finds healing. And in doing so, He doesn't just honor your pain, He multiplies its reward. The broken path you walked becomes a road for others to walk more safely. The tears you shed become drops of mercy for someone drowning in despair, and the strength you were forced to develop becomes the support someone else leans on when they are weak. You didn't go through what you went through for no reason. Allah knew the ripple effect of your patience, the impact of your endurance, the beauty in your survival. Your trial wasn't just a test, it was a trust. You were entrusted with a challenge because He knew you would carry it with dignity and that your journey would inspire others long after the pain had passed. Even if you haven't healed completely, even if you're still unsure why you went through certain things, trust that nothing was in vain. Your brokenness was not a curse, it was a container of divine wisdom. Every crack in your heart let in more light. And every setback was a setup for a future you couldn't yet imagine. Sometimes the deepest healing begins when you realize your pain has a purpose far greater than yourself. And Allah is the one who turns pain into paths of peace, sorrow into steps of strength, and hardship into highways of guidance. The most powerful version of you is not the one who had an easy life, but the one who suffered and still smiled, who fell and still rose, who cried and still believed. There are times when you feel like no one understands the weight you're carrying. You've tried, you've pushed, you've prayed, and still you find yourself stuck in the middle of trials that seem unending. You ask yourself if your patience means anything, if your quiet tears are seen, if your efforts are even acknowledged. But the reality is Allah sees everything. Not a single hardship, not a single tear, not a single moment of restraint is lost in the eyes of your Lord. The struggles you thought were buried and forgotten are being recorded with precision, counted with mercy, and will one day be rewarded beyond what you can imagine. What the world overlooks, He elevates. That silent dua you made in the depth of the night, when no one else knew the pain behind your words, it was heard. That patience you showed when you could have responded with anger, it was seen. That strength you summoned to carry on when giving up felt easier, it was written. Nothing you did for the sake of Allah is ever wasted. Even if the world gives you no recognition, the heavens are bearing witness to your endurance. You may not have gotten the result you wanted in this world, but the reward stored for you is far greater than you know. Every trial you faced with faith is accumulating reward. Every heartbreak you endured with trust is growing your rank. Every struggle you walked through with sincerity is planting trees in your eternal home. While others see only your pain, Allah sees your perseverance. While others see a broken version of you, Allah sees a believer being polished and elevated. In this world, you may feel unappreciated, but in the next, your struggle could be the reason you enter paradise without reckoning. What you consider small, what you forget, He remembers. He magnifies the smallest acts, multiplies the lightest tears, and records the most silent moments of strength. Even a single step taken with trust in Him can be the cause of eternal ease. And so while you walk through this life with wounds and weariness, remember that your effort is not in vain. With every pain you endure for His sake, you are building a future in the hereafter that will make every moment worth it. You are not suffering in silence. You are storing reward in silence. The path may be filled with hardship, but its destination is filled with peace. Speaking about, when you look back at your life, you'll begin to realize that the very moments you thought were breaking you were actually making you. You'll see that the nights you cried, the days you struggled, the paths you never wanted to walk were all parts of a divine plan far more precise than anything you could have written for yourself. Every pain served a purpose. Every delay held a lesson. Every disappointment was a doorway to something greater. Allah was not punishing you, He was preparing you. He was teaching you reliance, molding your character, softening your heart, and building within you a connection that could not be shaken by this world. What seemed wasted was never wasted. Be speaking out. What looked like failure was never failure. It was transformation. It was purification. It was mercy in disguise. Through the struggle, you discovered strength. Through the silence, you learned to listen. Through the loss, you uncovered the one who is never lost. The journey was never about the outcome alone. That be speaking about. It was about who you became along the way. Someone who learns to surrender without losing hope. Someone who holds onto faith even when nothing makes sense. Speaking about someone whose scars don't define them, but remind them that they survived with the help of the most merciful. So keep walking, keep trusting, keep believing. Nothing is wasted. With Allah, every struggle you face has a meaning. Every step you take has a purpose. And every test you endure is part of a plan that is always working in your favor, even when you don't see it yet.